On social media platforms today, quality content often goes unnoticed. On Den, users get paid for the creation, evaluation, and curation of quality content. Content creators are rewarded based upon the engagement and reach of their post or comment. Content evaluators are rewarded based upon the speed and results of their predictions about which content will trend or go viral. Community owners are rewarded based on engagement within their community. On Den, quality content pays.
Hello, welcome to episode 0x57, the 88th episode of Super Happy Dragon Lucky. Thanks for joining today. We have AMA at the end, so start posting questions, whenever it makes sense throughout. Can you give some updates now? So let's see here. First off, number go up. Takara price, obviously, number go up. And I actually saw someone I didn't have a chance to even answer, I think on Twitter, asking if Takara was still a thing. And it is still a thing. It's the stable price system that we have on DragonNet. That basically lets a business come in at the beginning of the month and pay a flat dollar amount for a certain number of transactions with the total knowledge that the transaction rate won't go up through the month and even to the dollar amount. So a pretty interesting system. The price goes up. I think it's a 14-day moving average. I'd have to review that to make sure it's right, but I'm pretty sure it's 14-day moving average set at the beginning of every month. And as of the beginning of April, it was approximately 25 cents, 24.93, which means, and I don't know what the price is this morning, but it means, if you're running a verification node, which we want you to do, and I think there are a lot of nodes running. That's even gone up, but you should be getting paid out at a good rate right now. So anyway, very good stuff. Next up, Dragonchain Foundation has partnered with Spark Plus. This is a very interesting thing. I do suggest go read the document, the press that went out. That it's a really good partnership because it will get Dragonchain into a number of universities in India. It will get a lot more people using it, and there are some other channels there for sales that we're using. But we're also going to be and have already started using this group to build things. So it's a very, very, very positive development, and we're really excited about it as it moves forward. We'll give you more info into what we're actually working on with them. So that's coming. Let's see here. Next up, DIN governance. So there are still tokens available. We haven't talked about this for a while because we've been pretty busy. There is one Matter ETH governance token still available, and there are 13 Lore ETH governance tokens still available if you want to take part in the development and to decentralized governance model inside of DIN, where any major algorithm change or even new feature suggestions will go through the governance board, and you will actually get a vote on what we do and how we do it and everything else. Which if you're using DIN, it's a particularly valuable thing because you can influence the way the algorithms decide things. So pretty exciting, pretty amazing stuff. Go to staking.din.social to figure out more. Let's see here. Next up, announced this morning, the April 2021 LCP. The proposal phase is now open. So go there, read the post. Please, do look at the rules to make sure you fully understand everything. And also so that you can figure out what needs to be in a proposal for a new layer. there was already at least one new proposal this morning since that was opened up. So that should all feed into the next LCP, which will start. The planned start will be next week, and people can start committing lore to basically decide which layers are created next. So very clean, nice process that we have there. So go in there, take part. Do read the past proposals before posting, because there are a lot in there that might already fit, that you can make comments in and see if they're interested, even if in changing things around a little bit. But either way, if you put enough lore in, then you can pretty much have rights to kind of influence how that community is built out anyway. And also, this proposal phase will end 24 hours before the commitment phase begins next Tuesday. So sometime, I assume on Monday, the proposals will be shut down. So make sure you get them in before that. Next up, let's see here, Creature Conference. There is a layer that is all about food and drink, and they're actually doing a lot giveaway. They've given away one and more to come. I don't remember how many total lot there are for Creature Comforts, but it was one of the early builds, so it's not in the millions. So there are fewer lot to be had in Creature Comforts, and it's a pretty active community, a lot, very well maintained. So we want to give them support wherever we can. Go in there and participate in that contest and get some lot. Pretty cool. Next up, the NFT layer is also giving away a lot for banner designs. And I've seen a little bit about this. I've even retweeted some of it, but I haven't had a chance to even look in on it. So good stuff there as well. I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of interesting things coming as we roll out some of the things with badging and enterprise NFT plugged into DEN. So some pretty cool stuff that will fit into what they're doing in the NFT layer. And that's brand new layer, by the way. So good stuff. Let's see here. Next up, okay, so we have a quick take on important concepts and common misconceptions about DEN, because there are a lot of things that, it's on the surface, it's simple, and that's the intent. The normal user, not a technophile, not a crypto person even, can come in and use the system. They can either read good content and it's there, or they, if they want, they can learn how the system works and participate in what is a marketplace where they can be rewarded. So first piece here is the philosophy and the goals. That part of the philosophy fits into Dragonchain's actual philosophy, that this is a hybrid blockchain system. Not everything has to be decentralized. In fact, the most important part of decentralization, in our opinion, most of the time, is decentralization of the proof itself. That for a business, for particular types of data, a lot of times you don't want the data itself decentralized. Well, with DEN, we very much consider the same. We will be building controls for decentralization of the data itself, letting people download, letting people mirror, things like that, layers. But proof is the most important thing. Content matters. That in the end, the premier goal of DEN is to get the top quality content in front of your eyes as soon as possible. And so we incentivize all of the things that make that possible for all of the participants, all of the users, all of the evaluators. And the evaluators are key there, that you need to incentivize their early signaling of which content is good and which content is bad. And the most interesting thing about it, which we'll get into in a minute, is how we interact those two roles together without them even caring, right? You don't even have to know how it works to see that it works. That community matters. That we basically have created scarcity in the community so that the platform can scale organically. You know, this isn't something that is financed by Facebook or some, you know, very, very large party that's going to bring in a bunch of bots and pretend like they're humans that are interacting with your posts. So this, you know, these are all real humans, and we know that if we had 1 million layers right now, that there would be no content for 1 million layers. So we wanted to build a way in that lets them grow very organically. So the community decides which layers to create next, also based on scarcity. The community also decides on new mechanics in the decentralized governance, in the governance board, and the community also decides banning and layer rules. So next up, we have reputation. So this one even came up recently in a post where a lot of people didn't know that you could already do some of the things that were being requested to help manage the community and manage, you know, newcomers to a community. That reputation and I'll show you a demo in a minute here, is customizable per layer. So if you have administrative control, and later this will be controlled by everyone who has lot for that layer. But if you have administrative control, you can adjust reputation filters that give you a way to basically push spam down, to keep some of the spam away. That it can also help you even with the potential for brigading issues. So, and that includes a reference to site-wide implementation, to reputation of someone inside of your layer. We will be adding factor components for anybody in the, you know, that remembers or knows about all of the Dragonchain products, that we have a decentralized identity system called Dragon Factor. And there's a new entity called MiFi. And as we roll that into a couple of different applications, we're going to be pulling it over into Den. That will help us with any potential of attacks with bots or other economic manipulation. So there are going to be some very interesting things there. There's also going to be a badge implementation. That is, if you think somewhat like about what you can do in Reddit, where you can reward someone with a badge or something that you know, for good content that shows up in their profile. We're going to be adding similar things to that, but on a spectrum, where you might have badges that are, you know, like gold stars or things that are not scarce, but people, at least by looking at your profile or even seeing your reply to a post, would know that you have some level of extra reputation on the positive side. But there will also be things that would be very unique to the layers, and also the ability to create actual full-blown NFTs that you could pull out onto Ethereum and sell later if you want, for, like, say, for the arts layer, things like that. So there's going to be a pretty big feature set coming with badges, probably after tagging, things like that. So I'm going to show you now, let's see here, the ability to set, so I go into settings, I'm going to go down to Dragonchain, and inside of, if you have lot, you can see inside of your settings screen various settings for the layers themselves, including profile, like say what banners and things like that. We're going to go into reputation. So you have to turn reputation on. Now, once you turn reputation on, you can still turn off the ability to post, right? So now, you know, if I applied this, nobody could post to the Dragonchain layer at all. And that's how we actually turn on and off the LCP proposals. You know, we just turn off posts. So, however, underneath each one of these actions, we have post, reply, vote, image, video, and torrents, right? So under post, you can set site-wide reputation, layer reputation required, and then the layer reputation threshold. So we're going to explain what these are. That site-wide reputation is basically to say it's it's 1 star right now, that if someone has never posted or has no votes inside of the Dragonchain layer, in this layer, it uses their site-wide reputation to determine whether or not they can take this action, whether or not they can post. So I could say, we don't want anyone in unless they have a stellar reputation on the outside. So if you've gone and posted a meme and gotten some downvotes, if you've posted something that was controversial in politics, you won't be able to come in here. And you might, this layer might do that for a reason. If they want to keep all the content to be very clean and direct, and basically only allow in people that are very, very popular and or positive on the outside, right? The opposite that you could do is you could say, okay, anybody can come in with, let's say, a 2 stars of reputation. You can see how many users can have access to that depending on how many stars you set, right? It's actually not too many different site-wide for the number. There's a pretty good swath of people in the middle. And everybody's gotten some downvotes, even I have, of course, right? But I could set this low on the way in. So I'm going to say, okay, you don't have to have a ridiculous high reputation. I'm going to filter out all of the lowest reputations with a 1 star, with a 2 star. And however, once you get in, I could set it to 5 stars, right? So it's kind of an interesting thing that you can say, I either want a really high filter to get new people in, but once new people are in, so that would be like this. Once new people are in, I'll take any level of controversy because I know that they're, stellar on the outside, and I'm just going to, let them be a little more free on the inside, versus letting anyone in and then making it extremely hard to post once we have gathered your reputation, right? So we let you kind of come in and post some things. And the other thing you can do is theoretically with that, I could leave the posts relatively high to say something like maybe 3 stars in, 2 stars to post once your level is determined. But maybe in order to let you gain that reputation, I leave the reply reputation low. So you can come in and make any replies. I just don't want you to make posts. You can do the same thing with images, and we do that in Dragonchain, that you have to have a site-wide reputation that is amazing to post an image. Or once you're inside the layer, then you can have a more of a middle tier reputation. So you can do that to keep people from posting crappy images and stuff like that in your layer. The other side of it is on voting itself, which theoretically you could say, okay, let's only let people with reasonable reputations vote inside of my layer, right? And that keeps some of the brigading out, keeps some of the manipulation out, depending upon what you're seeing. Now, the other thing, and you can see that we have set this different in the posting versus the voting rep actions, that the layer reputation threshold is the number of evaluations inside of this layer before the user's reputation is considered for this setting. That might be hard to understand, but basically it is that once for posting, once a user has 13 votes inside of this layer, now we start using the internal layer reputation filter instead of the site-wide. Okay, so, and you can see down here for voting, we've set it at 5. So, not that it matters for this. We might have changed this, but let's say that once you have 5 votes inside, you have to have 4 stars before you can vote again, right? So we can basically see that, okay, you've gotten a really bad reputation inside the layer, so we're not going to let you vote, until you can always shift it back. The reputation can move up and down. That over time, the older votes are filtered out. Okay, go back to next slide, which is voting. Okay, so this is important stuff because this is something that is often misunderstood, and we get a lot of drama over it, or at least some drama over it occasionally, where people get downvoted. So we want people to understand, especially with some of the new updates that are expected soon, that downvotes shouldn't be taken personally, that it's just an evaluation of whether this content is quality content inside of this layer. So within this community, some things that might be quality content somewhere else aren't for the people that are in this community. So the interesting thing about it is that and I think I just lost my machine. I'm going to reset because I know I'm going to go away. All right, I'll be back. Oh my gosh. Sure.
On January 7, 2020, Dragonchain hosted a 24-hour live demonstration during which 250 million transactions were executed fully on an operational network. Every single transaction on Dragonchain is decentralized immediately through 5 levels of DragonNet, and then secured with combined proof on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, and Binance Chain, via Interchain. This means that every single transaction is secured by, and traceable to these networks. An attack on this system would require a simultaneous attack on all of the interchained networks. The demonstration was of a single business system, and any user is able to scale this further, by running multiple systems simultaneously. Our goal for the event was to demonstrate consistent capacity greater than that of Visa over an extended time period. The event illustrates the level of scaling possible with Dragonchain's operational network and interchain capabilities.
BXC Exchange is a safe, easy-to-use, US-compliant exchange.
Because cryptocurrency is such a young industry, there's still a real lack of transparency.
So we are actually using Dragonchain's technology to help solve these transparency issues.
BXC partnered with Dragonchain to take advantage of their anti-fraud and transparency systems.
So using Dragonchain's technology, we're actually able to use provably fair tech to verify that our order books and trades and executions are all very transparent to our users. This alone makes BXC the only provably fair exchange in the entire world.
I have more than 20 years experience doing large, technically complex projects. One of the things that I was really pleased with in working with Dragonchain is that it allowed us to do the integration with their technology very quickly.
That's what makes Dragonchain and this a perfect partnership.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the delay. I had to switch machines. My other machine didn't even come back. So anyway, we'll be back. We'll still do the AMA. All right, upvotes and downvotes. So people have a lot of issues with getting downvotes, and we want people to know that basically there are two components to it. That literally the up versus down. You know, is this content good? Is this content bad? Right. But the part that you probably see most is the bet, which is literally an information marketplace about whether this content is whether you think the content will also be upvoted or downvoted by everyone else in the layer. So the great thing about this is that evaluation is rewarded based upon how early it is, number one, and how much energy you put into it. So it's effectively a way for the system to pull those parts, how do I say, to pull the up and down votes apart, to get I guess a greater, what would be a dynamic range, greater range of voting with the same set of people. So you know, if you see something that's really, really high upvote or really, really high downvote right now, it's because a lot of people have, or some people, or even one person has voted quite a bit up or down. And that effectively, though, is how the content gets rewarded. So, you know, obviously you want more people. The most important point is that you want more people to vote up, right? To get your consensus in the positive, to get, you know, 100% consensus upvote is the ideal, because then you're fully rewarded for all of the energy that's put in to play. On the downvotes, obviously you don't want a lot of downvotes, but 10% or 20% of people downvoting, but the economics around it mean that they're throwing energy away because they are voting against consensus, right? So the interesting thing about that is that we're able to help the content creator in basically against attacks on their content. So you might have someone that just doesn't like you. It happens all the time, that will downvote you because they don't like you. Well, if they know that they are downvoting and they're throwing their energy away where they could be making matter elsewhere, they won't be doing it as much. And you know, the more people understand about that, the better the system will function, and the more appropriately will content be rewarded. So, you know, in the end, we're working right now on a lot of different things, tracking the efficiency of energy use, you know, tracking how people are using energy and how much is thrown away. And I'm hoping we'll have some metrics on some of that out soon. We have at least some internal charts that we have started to look at, and some different types of data. So we also want to bring up that, you know, in the downvotes, and this is one of the reasons we're really wanting people to understand this, that there will be a negative trending pool soon. And that will really start pushing people to start voting things down that otherwise might get you know, a few courtesy votes, or you know, what we would call, you know, just votes in politeness up, that might not be up otherwise. So be ready for it, that, you know, a lot of people might be upset. We don't want people to be upset, but if it's not appropriate or really great content, then you should expect downvotes. So, you know, it's right now, there are some, and you know, I've noticed it, others have started to ask us questions about how to, and that's why the reputation even came up in this, that what I would, and I don't know the best word for it, but what I would call lazy content, where I'm going to throw something up, I'm going to write a single sentence, I'm going to hope people vote up on it because it's either something they agree with or because they like me generally or something, right? So we don't want lazy content, as you know, as much as possible. You know, we want good content. There are some things like memes that, you know, lazy content is what it's about. It is literally just a single image that you're posting. So anyway, in the end, though, this evaluation marketplace determines the rewards for the content creators. You know, that marketplace itself, which because it is a marketplace, will become more and more efficient as people learn more and more how it works. What is the algorithm? How does my participation in this marketplace get me rewards? Which post did I get this 10 matter from, in my evaluation from yesterday? That will help people understand how to act, how to evaluate. And the beauty then is that the tighter we can get that, the more efficient we can make the evaluation marketplace, the more appropriate rewards will be handed out. So anyway, all right, next up, let's see here, boosting. So this was just added, and it's very, very early phase, right? This was just added about 2 weeks ago, I think, that you can use Matter directly to boost posts. Okay, now there are two different types of boosting. One is internal and one is external. So on the internal, you can boost your visibility within a layer and on the feeds. So if someone subscribes to that layer, let's say you're going to push something into the cryptocurrency layer, that about a project that you're interested in, or maybe it's your project or something else. Maybe it's your layer, right? And you want to push something that's going on in your community. You can get, and it is entirely evaluated as content. So we consider boosted content, even though it is boosted. And if your content performs poorly, it will drop down in its rank relatively quickly. And our goal is to make that happen as quickly as possible. But if it performs well, if you get 80, 100% upvotes, then it will remain, its positioning in the feed will remain well. It'll over the period of time that you're boosting it, it'll actually be in people's feeds. But the interesting thing about it is the better it performs, not only is it positioned well, but the more you get back of your matter that you use to boost it. That minus a fee that comes out at the beginning to the layer and to Den itself, that your internal boost stands to possibly get you return 85% of your matter back to you. So if you get 100% performance on a boosted post, you'll get 85% of the matter back. For an external boost, it is literally creating a bounty for anyone who shares a link to your post. So it's an engagement bounty, and that is basically to push your content outside of Den, to bring people to it. So people will be incentivized to basically share links on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and anywhere, everywhere. Email, doesn't matter. It's just capturing the references to that link and deduplicating based upon bots and other filters, but then rewarding you for that engagement. The next thing to cover would be site-wide boost is also in effect as well, which is the same thing applied across the entire system. So right now, and I believe it's 2.5%, so 25 matter, there is a site-wide boost, which gives you, I guess, a proportional share of that 25 matter daily, based upon any links that you share in the outside world. And we've actually, because we had it running before we even had it in the payout metrics report, and so we saw people that were getting pretty good rewards from that, pretty amazing rewards from it in the early days. So, we're hoping to watch that a little more. And then also, if you look at your payouts report, at the bottom, there is an energy use, energy utility, energy use metric, and also a matter use pool. And any matter you use to boost content is counted 10-to-1 in the matter use pool. That's some of the actual purpose for the matter use pool is if you have matter and you're using it for energy, you get a 1-to-1. If you're using it for boosts, it's scored as a 10-to-1. So you could stand to make some even more of that matter back. So some pretty interesting pieces there. Next up, okay. So next up, we're going to get to AMA right after this.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
All right. So thanks again for holding on through that. My machine just totally died and it didn't even come back. So I'm on a different box now. So let's see here. First up on AMA, win golden JoJo mug. This is get bashed with this. I don't know. We should have that. We didn't have an effective way to filter people with the merch site because it's separate and it's in a full integration, and we haven't had the real reason to do it yet. But there are some ways around it. We can manually let people buy it, just price it really high inside the system, and then let you come in and you can get a coupon code or something, so it'll be a regular price. Let's see here. Next AMA. I should have asked people to. Yes. Let's see here. Thanks for all of the birthday wishes. That is very nice. Mentions of various people. Interesting. Let's see here. I don't know what some of this is. All right. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you can't. Some of this stuff is just kind of, we're at the mercy of infrastructure. You never know. I've had issues with my machine dropping out occasionally lately, so I just need to look into that. Let's see here. Arguan Modith, can reputations be attacked by bots or people wanting to censor speech? Yes, but it costs money, and there are some ways around some of it. We're going to be adding, like, say, with badges and with other actual identity components, we will be adding pieces that you wouldn't be able to affect with that. I mean, it could literally be something. Right now, it is primarily focused on actual votes. We are very much expecting that in the future we will have something in place that would, how do I say, focus more on matter generation itself. So it's effectively something that the entire layer has to weigh in on. It wouldn't just be, oh, I'm going to downvote you and you get a little hit on your reputation. So it's, over time it all works out, I guess. And we do know the reputation will move over time as well. So you could start out with a bad reputation and still, improve it, because the old actions fall off at some point, or at least get very, very much weighted down. So let's see here. I want to talk about great idea with smart ballots, but what if the voting machine itself is faulty? That is, it changes one's vote or doesn't properly process one's vote before it's added to the blockchain. Yeah, see, so you have to understand the big picture of smart ballots is not just that the vote's on chain, right? The big picture is that with decentralized identity, with Dragon Factor, with MiFi, we can get a first off, we can verify your eligibility. You know, we can do things without exposing who you are to allow you to still have a blind vote. And the main point is that you see the evidence yourself. So, you know, when you, let's say it's at a kiosk that it could be on a mobile for that matter, but let's say that you vote, you know, you go through the whole ballot, you make all your votes, that you would get a receipt, or you would get a transaction ID. It could even be emailed to you if it makes sense, you know, depending on the rules, right? That you can verify that your vote was recorded as cast. That, you know, I definitely voted for this measure. I definitely voted against that one. I voted for this person and against that person, and you can immediately see, okay, yes, that is correct. I verified. That's what I said. Now you can go home, and when the election is over, the polls close, they release the results, that you would be able to go, you know, to a website or click on that link that you have and see your vote in the entire mix of votes. You can say, that's my vote. That's exactly how I cast it. Yes, it is. Nothing has changed. And you can prove that it hasn't changed, and anybody else can. Nobody else knows that it's you. You could, if you wanted, expose it, you know, just like you could in a regular vote. You could take a picture of you actually placing a vote inside the booth if you wanted. Same thing. And from the outside, anyone other than you, even though they can't see you, is going to count your vote appropriately. So you have the whole picture where anybody in the world can independently validate, audit, whatever word you want to use, that entire vote, right? Let's see here. Hopefully I answered you right. Let's see next. Again, arguing mode death. Can there be a reputation marketplace where credibility can be bought and sold? Theoretically, it's possible. There are a lot of things you could do there, but I think generally the reputation itself is about actions. So it would be something that you couldn't buy or sell. And at least the way that I typically would see reputation systems, that reputation is particularly interesting on blockchain because a whole series of actions through time can be recorded with proof, with data quality assurance, you know, things that you can then rely on in algorithms later to measure that reputation. And, you know, you can change the way you score the reputation over time. You can do things like that. But generally, you don't want to, like, say, mint rep tokens and then let me sell them to you, because it's kind of pointless. Now it's, you know, now it's not purely a reputation. Now it is something that you have, you might have entirely just purchased, right? So the interesting thing about reputation, typically, not, you know, there might be a reason that you would want to do something very similar to that, but reputation itself, very, very much should be something based on actions and not transferable, right? You might make the actions like we do in some cases over time drop off or not have the effect. You know, the oldest actions maybe don't have the same effect as something you just did yesterday. But anyway, that's totally based on the algorithm. Let's see here. Okay, when I think I this thing scrolled even crazy, so I need to get back into it. Let's see here. When lore dragon staking from Crypto Enthusiast. We expect soon. We're hoping it happens next week, but we're, you know, relying on, you know, what we can get completed before that with the contracts and tested. So if it isn't during this next LCP, then almost certainly it will be for the next. And we will, by the way, be introducing something soon. This first pass we probably won't, but we're probably going to be doing some hybrid farming methods, you know, both inside and outside of DEN. And, you know, I think we've gone over it before, but we expect to have Matter ETH pair as the highest, Lore ETH, Dragon ETH, and straight dragons for use in this pooling. So anyway, let's see here. Goose Creek Unlimited. Who do we contact to get a business layer on DIN? I would say for right now, I don't know if we have, in all truth, I don't know if I have the best answer for this, but yeah, many ways you could hit us on the DIN Telegram. You can message directly to info@dragonchain.com. I believe there might be, is there a form set up? I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. That should be more publicly obvious. We've been rolling it in slowly because we don't want it to be on onset of hundreds of people wanting a layer. And right now, you can get a layer with a single one-time charge and bring your own lore, so you can have as many lot as you wish. And then in time, there will be a monthly or daily charge as well. Right now, that's not there, so it's a good time to set up a strategic layer for your community if it makes sense. So and that's all available right now. We've done it occasionally, and people just ping us however they ping us. Soon there'll be an interface for it. Soon it'll be automated. You'll be able to actually just sign up directly on the website, but we're keeping it kind of slow right now. So let's see here. Wind Digital Fortress Wallet, Goose Creek Unlimited. I don't know if we're focused, typically across the board, Dragonchain, a lot of people will come to us and say, I think we need a wallet. And it's usually interesting because most of the time it's that people think they need a wallet because that's the common talk in crypto. And yet really what they need is a chain with some account and identity features that will let people hold things or events to their account. So I don't know. We're not really planning directly on a digital fortress wallet, but I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. In fact, we had something in the early Dragonchain days that we almost created a hardware wallet that wasn't a wallet. I mean, it was a wallet, but the primary purpose of it was for business use to provide cryptographic signatures to the system. And I wouldn't rule against that either long term, but it wasn't. It didn't happen. It didn't work out because the partners we had, it just wasn't the right timing. So let's see here. Okay, do we have more down here? Let's see here. What are your thoughts on classifying social media platforms as a utility, like phone companies were? U.S. Supreme Court seems to be inviting this argument for debate. See, I didn't know that. That's pretty good. This is distant. I think it's particularly important myself. That's why we created DIN. We saw enough things that were wrong with the way that even the better social media networks were working that basically invited us to come in and demonstrate what's possible with blockchain. And I think if social media were regulated or governed like they were utilities, there'd be some bad in that as well. But I guess my take on it is whatever happens. Things are going to happen, and we're going to say that it's the dumbest possible thing in the world that the government would do. But you have to consider that they're looking at the Facebooks and the Twitters and some pretty massive, at least in my opinion, censorship that's gone on in the past year that wasn't even necessary. I mean, I can understand some types of censorship, especially for legality and different types of content, but what we've seen were very, very subjective political censorship that you would, at least, when I grew up, that would be things that, we were told that the Soviet Union would have done, or that, various other bad actors in the world would have done in the past. And that it's happening here now, and it's happening for who knows what reason. I'm sure there are some reasons behind the scenes, as who owns stock in various and who owns people on the various leadership of those platforms. So I think that even without regulation, it can be solved, and that's what DEN's doing. That the whole point is to put transparency in the right places, and to have privacy controls, and to have all the things that people want and need, but then to really incentivize the things that you want for your goals. In our case, our goals are not to sell ads like Facebook would be, or to push certain political angles, which is maybe what Twitter is wanting to do. That our goal is very much to try to how do I say? I mean, basically get good content in front of you faster, right? And there are some very, very interesting ways that we're doing that. In fact, Distant always talks about how, it's kind of like setting up a box in the middle of the town square. And, people learn over time, if you push certain buttons, it gives you things, right? That if you do certain things that it wants, and so it trains you to do the things that and it trains you not just in a dumb way. Literally, the more efficient you are at using DEN, the more it will give you. The more matter you will get, the more exposure you will get, and the more you learn about how those algorithms work, the more that effect can be amplified. And even further, the more you take part in how we adjust those algorithms, the more you can benefit. So there's a lot of really interesting things coming, and you could do it without regulation generally. So here, let's see here. Can we create? This is Crypto Enthusiast. Create a Golden Jojo NFT. There are many other cryptos that have minted their own personal NFTs that have skyrocketed and helped promote. Just look at socks. So I mean, we could. It's just a matter of priorities. And if you saw the list of things that we want to get done and need to get done, that's on the list. So are a lot of other things. But when you weigh those, you have to consider, and it's really hard sometimes, but you have to consider the weight of crypto Twitter versus actual sales, actual real adoption, right? That just look at these other projects. In my opinion, most of them are doing this because they're not doing anything else, right? NFTs, the hot button today, it's flavor of the week. Who knows when it'll go away? If we spent the time to build this system, would it be worth it in a month? Is the NFT craze going to be going still in a month? I think it probably will, but maybe not. Who knows? So our real goal is to prioritize what will have the most effect, and keep things running, and produce value. Now, I would say about that, when we have the first paying account that is a big enterprise play, and we have a few that are in the works, then that becomes possible, because then the platform is already there, and we can issue an enterprise NFT that lets you pull it out. And the Golden Jojos, if it was an NFT, would it be any different than what you already have? You already have the Golden Jojo. So if you're wanting to say you want to mint it to sell it, people would want to know why they want to buy it, right? And you can run an L4. That's the biggest thing right now that you could do with a Golden Jojo, right? Is it worth it? I don't know how many there are. There are like 6,000 or 7,000. Quite a few of them probably lost. So we have bigger plans long term for Golden Jojo that might or might not happen. But when that happens, it'll probably still be managed the way it is. I don't know that you'd want to make it external. I don't know. Yeah, I could be convinced, but anyway, let's see here. Reputation market. Yeah, something. Selling an account on eBay, I think, is different than reputation, because it's more about having an account, right? You're buying an account. that account might come with some level of reputation, but people also know in the end that you might have just bought it. So the reputation doesn't mean quite as much, right? Let's see here. Any NFT market updates with Dragonchain, DeFi, NFT JoJo? So yeah, we're definitely have the lore farming as an example coming. Just talked about NFT JoJo. We also have some new updates that I don't want to give too much detail on because it's you could probably do it outside of Dragonchain, but we have some special features coming with regard to farming that I want to roll out with on Den as soon as we can. I'm hoping it would happen in May. So we'll see about that, but there's some very interesting things we're working on there. We have a lot of people talking to us about NFTs, and it just depends upon how serious they are and what precisely they want to do. We have at least one that's a very serious signed contract that is going to integrate enterprise NFTs into some nice systems, mostly around art, but there are other things. So let's see here. Get bashed with this. Are there thoughts to create an own token ecosystem on Dragon, like Death, Dematter, Delore, 1 million time NFT tokens for trade? I'm not precisely sure what you mean by this. If you're talking about the ability to create your own tokens on Dragonchain, you can already do that. Right now, we have all the facilities to do it. We have sample code out there that literally any Dragonchain business node can create its own tokens on Dragonchain proper. And it can create multiple tokens on the same chain for that matter. That's one of the very early things we wanted to do back at Disney. And we did it there and we've done it since. And all of those tokens can be exported to Ethereum as well. That is, you can have a twin ERC20 contract, for example, and you can do it with NFTs as well. And we do it inside a Den. We do it with dragons. There are other projects that are building on and have built on Dragonchain that have done the same. So yes, I think that's what you're asking. I hope that's what you're asking. When commercial. So there is one that's apparently running. I don't have the metrics yet on how often or where, but there is something that is already running on broadcast cable. I don't know how you refer to it nowadays. TV on business networks primarily. We have had a couple of known runs on a couple of different. They're even on one political show, I think, but mostly it's on business shows. To target the audience we want to target, which isn't crypto Twitter, of course. We're also about to get approval on a new ad that has to do with Digital Fortress and the quantum stuff. So, and that's going out. And once it's out, we'll also play it on Super Happy and on Twitter and stuff as well. But the primary focus obviously is business, right? So let's see here. In my opinion, politics should not be allowed on social media. Shalom done. I disagree, right? I mean, it's people. So, I think something positive that Den does is it segregates communities that if you don't want to deal with politics, you just stay out of the politics layer, right? And if people are posting politics to the let's say the cryptocurrency layer, then you can vote it down and say, well, it's not really appropriate here. And that's the whole point of it. But anyway, I get what you're saying now, especially politics shouldn't be used in the filtering by the giants as well of content. That's for sure. But that's what's happening. And, like something like Twitter is hard because you could post, you have it, there's no way to group stuff. It's, you can tag stuff, but I can't really follow someone but not follow their politics tag, right? So, it's kind of they apparently have always had issues with defined communities and trying to figure out how to make communities more, I don't know what the word would be, more specifically traceable, trackable, filtered inside of Twitter. So anyway, let's see here. Yes, non-transferable NFT one-time sale only. Yeah, we have some of that. I mean, that's even what right now, what a, gosh, let me think. There are various features we've done this with. I don't know. Golden Jojo is kind of like that you can transfer it, but it's only transferable because the actual reason for the time transfer function was to allow people to move to hardware wallets back in the day, right? So we have some interesting things around that too that might or might not ever happen, but that would really some mind-blowing stuff that we're thinking about, but it depends upon priorities. So let's see here. Don Holland, how can your loyal community members help with adoption right now? Telegram, LinkedIn, now that COVID restrictions are ending. Okay, so the primary way is, sharing content with valuable insight, right? That is, if you can bring valuable insight or context to, let's say, some posts. We just announced the new partnership with in India. That one way or another, sharing that, figuring out how this could be used by businesses, and that there is something to say about crypto Twitter, even on just retweeting things and getting it out there, that business people do watch that, especially in a bull market. So it is helpful there. But we've gotten probably the most effect from sharing things on LinkedIn, particularly by Phil and Trey, as an example, because we can actually see and interact with real businesses that are interested in that technology, which is the most important part of it, right? That when we announced something about the election tech that turned into a partnership with Smart Ballots, that it's very valuable, very important, and we've gotten a lot of traction on LinkedIn on some of those. Interchain as well, and the new the big piece with smart contract orchestration. I think generally crypto Twitter still doesn't understand that because there's not a chart involved, right? So it's real business, and the funny thing about watching charts is sometimes it's hard to figure out which thing caused the chart to move, right? And I remember even pre-blockchain days, if you were paying attention to stocks, you would think, oh, that's why that happened, and you would realize that it doesn't. It takes quite a while for something to be accounted for in those charts. That people see something in the press, they see that this new technology is out there or something, and that after they've had time to ingest it, and or after they've had time to talk to people that they trust about it, we then also have to read it. Then they say, oh, wow, this is something important. Let's buy some of this. Let's integrate it. Let's do whatever. It's an interesting thing. So it's hard. There's a lot of noise out there, but I think the best way is to do what a lot of you are already doing. Provide more insight, spread it, share it with friends, with colleagues that most importantly that might want to use it. Right? That's the sales side is the most important thing, and I actually quoted the number wrong last time, and I'm probably going to quote it wrong again. But we have something like 50 now, I believe, sales associates, and it might be more than that, that are all tied in, incentivized to make the connections. Some of them are incentivized just to make the connections because that's what they do. Some of them are incentivized to go and actually, close deals. So that's it. Maybe talk to Trey, sign up for that. If you have any angles, if you have ideas, particularly that are low-hanging fruit, things that can be integrated where you already work, or or with people that you know. So that's the biggest part of it. Let's see here. Next question. Okay, I'm gonna hit the Shalom Dun. My problem with NFTs is who controls the server that the JPEG is located on, and we totally agree with this. That this has been one of the interesting things about what is going on for hype in the NFT world, that most of these systems are centralized in the storage of the actual content, right? And the funny thing about it then is you're buying literally just a digital token that hopefully is connected to that art, right? And the issue is there's not, it's not even in most cases a legal binding. There's not even some rights that you were actually given with it to have control to maybe use it commercially, to use this image commercially, or to put it on your banner on Twitter, right? That those rights are unknown. The actual storage of itself is interesting because you could theoretically download it, right? But even if you download it, others could as well. There are some groups that are putting together systems that will, allow access only to the current holder and things like that, but they're remarkably inefficient and expensive, and very much unknown, right? Even if you do put it on IPFS or Saya or somewhere else, that there's either ongoing cost to maintain it there, or there are other issues related that, just maybe even in the size of it. So I'm going through this very long description because our angle on this is you want the token decentralized, which Ethereum gives us that, right? And there are other platforms you could use as well, but pretty amazing security on holding that token. The token comes with, the fact that it's owned by you and your keys can sign a message. So our take on it is that image, that thing that you actually bought that is supposed to be held by that token, can be on chain, and it can be in a centralized chain that would only let you download it, right? So now you can have access to you're the only one that can get the full quality image, right? And have potentially, if the issuer wants, full legal rights to that file. The other thing we can do is put full provenance on chain, which makes that particular image and the meaning of owning it more valuable, because if I hold this this token, it means that I have access, I have digital rights, I have various other rights to it, but I can also see and prove that it wasn't a fake or a copy or something else, because we can look back and see that the actual data is there from the actual development of the piece or whatever else, right, about its history. So a lot of interesting things there. Let's see here. I'm going over, so I'll try to get this done quickly now. Any news about Dragon going to be on other exchanges? I don't know. We don't track that. Let's see here. Did I say something? Let's see here. Yeah, many of them are going to have 404 errors, and that's why even with Den, we're talking about part of the decentralization is in the ability for people to download content that you could potentially mirror a layer, and we might have some way that the Den interface can let anyone get even to a mirrored layer if for some reason Den goes down or taken out or something else. So some interesting pieces there. Let's see here. Can NFTs on Dragonchain be exported as colored coins on BTC, or am I confused about what colored coins are for Bitcoin? Distant. I assume so. The interesting thing about colored coins, I remember they used to have a bad name because they came from something where the banks wanted to mark coins that were involved in quote unquote suspicious activity. So in the early days, way back, people didn't want colored coins to be a thing, that it interrupts fungibility, basically, that maybe, Coinbase might not accept certain coins because they're marked a certain way. If that is the way they're used, maybe this would be a positive thing about that they could be. Now, My take on this is that it's not even necessary, though, because in many cases, if I could have a hybrid system, with Dragonchain, my NFT on Dragonchain is actually more secure than an NFT on Ethereum, at least from the context of that NFT is secured by Ethereum already. That we already know this transaction, even if it's a transfer transaction on an enterprise NFT, that gets the full power of the Ethereum network, but it also gets the full power of the Bitcoin network as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but are people going to do that? I have no idea. Dogma causes some pretty crazy things that are counter to efficient market action, right? So things like that are kind of, I don't know. Maybe the reasons for someone to do that, and if they want to, we can and we will. And if there's money to be made, we'll do it. But generally, let's see here. Looking for another question. Is Dragon doing anything in the storage space? By Law Uprising, let's see here. I have a long time wish to get something integrated with either Siacoin or storage or one of the others. We have some things that we're working on for video and Den that would apply to this, where we're looking at a couple of different networks, trying to figure out which one is the strongest and most certain to survive. So we're looking at those, and with other projects as well. There are at least a couple on the radar that we've talked to that have some interest in using decentralized storage. So the weirdest thing about that is it's mostly in the consumer side that most of the businesses can already decentralize in an effective way. They don't need the pure decentralized network to be able to do that, because it's not a censorship question. It's more of a question about where do I put my data? And those are right now more of what we're working on. So, but there is the occasion. A couple of them have touched upon it. So I think that's everything. Did I miss anything? I think that's everything. We've gone long enough anyway, so it's an hour 12. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I have a bunch of things that I have on my list to do, getting a camera, fixing the backdrop so it's not reflective, things like that. So we'll be improving constantly. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you follow Jojo Rowe, Dragonchain Gang, and Real Denizens on Twitter. Follow us on LinkedIn in particular. A lot more stuff going there these days than there was before. And trying to think, like, subscribe, do all those things here. And come back next week. We'll have another show for you. Thanks a bunch. Bye.